Okay, so it's another day. Last night, as you saw, I got to taking off the air intake. That was all I had time for last night. But now I've come back from work again, and we're going to try to get into it now. And I'm going to see if I have time to get the head off of this motor. Let's do that again. You can never have too many gaskets. Now we're just going to pry off the rocket cover. Boom, baby. Look at that there. We're getting there. Alright, so I didn't get the head off, but I made some good progress. For stripping the rest of the internals here, I'd rather just do that in like all at the same time and not just do a bit now and then pick up again later. I'd rather do it all in one hit. So I'm going to leave that for now as it is. Put the rocker cover back on, just sit it on there and call it a night. Have something to eat, relax, and pick this back up again tomorrow. So I'm back again. I'm gonna start off today by taking off this sump again. There's only a couple of bolts in there holding that. And taking off the big ends, checking them, seeing what sort of condition they're in. And let's get into it. Actually see a couple of little fragments of metal sitting on the oil suction. Try a little bit more, but I'm thinking we're going to have to take off this head. I've undone the nuts to the bottom bearing on the fourth piston, and I'm hitting the piston up, but the bearing itself isn't coming down. It's like locked in place. So that would be a reason for the motor to seize up, that the journals are stuck on the crankshaft. Like even with me taking off the nuts and loosening it up, it won't even move. Alright, I'm going to take out these 5 bolts, take out this rail system, and then I'm going to take out these 2 lines along with the cam bearings. And then I'm going to take the cams out, and then I'll be taking out the head bolts. So the bottom bearing on piston 4 just fell. The one that we took the nuts off and then it was stuck and wouldn't come out. The bottom part of the piston came, but the big end bearing that sits on it is probably stuck on the crankshaft. So that's probably still on the engine. So I've got the big ends to the number 4 piston, and they are pretty scored up. They're pretty thin. I've got the bottom half of the piston here, so that's not even on the number 4 piston right now. And the way that works is it goes underneath the crankshaft, so as the crankshaft pulls down, because it's underneath, it will pull it down with it. And as I turn the crankshaft around now and rotate, number 4 piston will still pull itself down because it's stuck to the crank. It only goes so far and then it stops, which should be impossible for it to do. It pretty much should come up to top dead center and not come up any higher, but it pulls itself down. So from this point now, I gotta take out that piston, look over it, find what's wrong with it, check the crankshaft itself, and I'm gonna check those valve stem cells, or the valves that are over the top of piston number 4 to see if any of them are bent. But that's where we're at. Messed up piston number 4. Alright, so it's Saturday morning, and I'm gonna get back at it. I'm thinking that it might be the oil pump is starting to go, because as the oil pump starts to go, it gets weaker, which is generally why the piston closest to it will still have enough oil. The next piston will still have enough, and the next piston will probably just have enough. By the time you get to the last one, it won't have enough oil. And then due to lack of oil and lubrication, the bearings start to heat up and rub, and as you can see, they've scorned the crankshaft up until eventually the piston got stuck in there and the whole engine just seized up over it. Now I have to try and figure out whether that's something that can be machined or just replace the crankshaft. Would you guys stock the piston rings for that engine?
Normally we do. We don't have any stock, and you'll be looking at about 861 for the set.
Okay. All right. Leave it with me.
All right, will do. All right, bud.
Appreciate it.
Ciao.
Ciao.
All good. Ciao.
Well now, there's a big variation with some of these with prices. Like one store for piston rings is only $167 for the set. Another store, for some reason, for their set, it's $861, if I heard him correctly. Another one, like a valve regrind set, which would be all my gaskets, head bolts. One store's got it for $503. Another store sells it for $437 and then sells the head bolts separately for another $73, which then almost brings it to like the same price. While another store sells that same kit for over $700. So it's like more than $250 more. And yeah, big end bearings, which is what we needed. One store's got it for $100. Still more dear buying big end bearings for this engine than for a lot of other engines. Usually they're like around $25-$30 with the cars that I've usually been working on anyway. And another store has it for $180 for some big end bearings. Man, it's an expensive engine. Not my engine though, so I'm not paying for it. But expensive. Yeah, none of these places is gonna have any sort of pistons or crankshafts, I can tell. So I'm gonna have to shop around and maybe buy online. Might just be the easiest thing to do, which means we're gonna have to be waiting on that. But yeah, that's sort of where we're at now. I sort of got some prices that I can go tell the owner how much this is gonna cost him, tell him where we're at with the damage as well, and see what he wants to do moving forward. Yeah, I'll let you know.